Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Gundog Outdoors. This is the No Accolades and Just Some Yahoo episode with Zane Ladig, and I am with the world-famous Andy Shaver. Zane, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. A little jet lag. Just got in from a family trip out to Denver, or Colorado, but doing good today.
How did you pick Denver as a vacation spot?
So last year we went out there, and actually, I'll tell you a little secret. It's super cheap out there right now. They call it mud season. So if you go just get into Denver and we go over to Steamboat, hotels are dirt cheap. There's not very many people. It's not packed. And so granted, it's not, the summer attractions aren't open yet, but it's an enjoyable time.
We went to South Padre, me and Michelle did last week, and that was the same way it was there. It's their off season. It's the month of May is slow because school's still in. Everybody's out of school. Spring breakers are done. There's no snow in the mountains the same way, so it is a lot cheaper. I enjoy it because I don't like a lot of crowds anyways. So is your...
Well, exactly. I go on vacation to be on vacation away from people, not with people.
That's exactly. So it was your wife's birthday, right?
Yes. My wife's birthday today, so we kind of went out there to celebrate her birthday and just
her
to get
birthday
away.
is today. I was thinking it was yesterday, so it is today. So her and my fat son Blake Poppy share the same birth date.
Gotcha. Yep. So May 18th.
Y'all have kids, or it was just?
I'd like to give the year, but I don't think so here. I have a 4-year-old daughter. She came, and then my brother-in-law, he came out there with us. So
Just had a good old time.
it's a good
Why does Harry
trip.
not have no shirt on over there?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Harry that works for us has no shirt on sitting in the kitchen. He's got pierced nipples. This is weird.
So you guys are in triple digits, and I just got home. It's 57 degrees and raining here.
108 today.
The week that we're gone, though, I saw that Monday's supposed to be like 78. So of course.
Yeah, high in the 70s next Monday and Tuesday here.
And then when we get back, it'll be back in triple digits. So
Yep.
perfect.
It is hotter than hell. So Zane, where do you live at right now?
Yes, sir. So I'm in Northeast Indiana. I live in a town, Villa, Indiana. But if you basically go about an hour south of Michigan and then an hour back to the west of Ohio. I mean, right up here, tucked in the very northeast corner of the state of Indiana.
God's country.
Yeah, for the most part, we don't have too many blue-haired weirdos out here yet. So thankful for that. But Denver sure was full of them. That airport's a different
Basically,
place.
what you're saying is you live in a place with a lot of conservative, a red state, and a red area.
You know, I believe I read an article in the local paper. It said that Noble County, the county I live in, is one of the most conservative states in the nation. So it's a good place to live.
So basically, y'all have low crime and a lot of people working.
You know, yeah, other than the meth heads, but that seemed to dwindle down. That kind of peaked when I was in high school, 07, 08. It seemed like that was when meth was at its worst, and then really you don't hear about it too much, but probably because we have a good law enforcement here.
Gotta love Indiana.
It's good.
What are you looking at?
I'm trying to look. What town are you in?
Avila, Avilla.
Name a big town by it.
Kendallville, Fort Wayne. I'm just north of Fort Wayne, 25 minutes north of Fort
Wayne. Now you're by Auburn and Kendallville. I found you now.
Just
now, you told us earlier that Ducks Unlimited has done a big project for y'all on your property.
Yeah, so kind of a long story. I'll condense it. I moved in. Me and my wife bought this farm 6 or 7 years ago now. Bought it for deer hunting, honestly. Waterfowl really wasn't on the radar for here, anyways. And there was an old county tile that ran through the field. I was going to put this into CRP, and we talked with the local CRP gentleman with the NRCS, and he said, county tile, basically can't touch it. So I ended up getting in contact with a gentleman from the National Fish and Wildlife Service, and he kind of told me the same thing, but he said that he was interested in restoring what had been drained, or at least part of it, from this tile. I was on the hook to get the county to vacate this tile. So once we got this tile vacated, which wasn't a horrible process because it was in shambles, it really wasn't functioning great anyways, and so the bottom part of my field behind the house wasn't farmable. So over the course of the last 5 years, lots of emails, lots of phone calls, lots of site visits, dealing with the federal government takes a while. this process went through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, but it was mostly funded by Ducks Unlimited. They built a levee against a drainage ditch on the backside of my yard here, where my field connects to the yard, and put a water control structure in, so I'm able to retain the water on the low side of what used to be a drainage field, essentially, and then I'll probably start pulling water off here shortly. However, this is my first year doing anything like that, so it'll be a huge learning curve for me. I'm pretty excited, but yeah, very fortunate to have that and to have something like Ducks Unlimited to help us out here.
So what did they do? Were they just looking for a place that would hold ducks, or how did Ducks Unlimited come to find out even about your place?
So it was because of me. The local county surveyor, who's in charge of the water in Indiana, county surveyors are in charge of water and drainage. He put me in touch with this gentleman from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and then that gentleman then works with Ducks Unlimited directly. For them, it's about how many acres can they restore, and I mean, I'm not saying that they're trying to do it in a cheap manner, but my project wasn't a huge project, and they were able to restore roughly 5 acres of once tiled and drained ground.
Right. So, I mean, if you look at it from the duck perspective, it's a win-win.
Yeah, and I mean, so and this year already, I've got 2 broods of geese out there, and then we got some wood ducks that come in and out. So there's mallards sleeping out there right now. I'm sure that we got a clutch somewhere. It's all grassy around the edges, so it while it's not producing hundreds of birds per year, it is producing some.
Yeah. I've always said that if you can build a water project on your place, especially ones you keep up year round, and it's got water in it, all you're doing is feeding a ton of wildlife, or not feeding. You're enhancing the ecosystem, because let's say you shoot 100 mallards off that this year, but 1,000 ducks have a place to set all year long. Then you've done some good. And that's we need
right.
more of
And
that.
you know what's funny? What's funny is, to be honest, the ducks, for some reason, and the geese really, springtime, there'll be a lot of birds out here, and I mean a lot by Indiana standards, right? So maybe 50 geese and 50 ducks. I mean that's seeing a lot of birds on a little slough like this. But come fall, I don't know what it is. If they just migrate through, I might shoot a handful of wood ducks here a year, maybe a few geese next year, I'm hoping, but really they don't use it in the fall like you would expect. So it's really more of a springtime thing, hangout for them there.
And that's just as important as a winter place is.
And you know what, to be honest, it's a lot less stressful for me because I get to sit here and watch them and not worry about how I'm going to go and kill them.
That's funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's as something as you kill more birds, then you enjoy watching them too.
So how was your season this year?
So I think, I hear you guys all saying that you struggled, especially over there in the Central Flyway, but I feel like we had a pretty solid season up here. It starts off, we start in second week of September. We have a early goose season to where it's 5, and this is big geese, honkers. We don't really have any other variety here. So we'll have that early season. It's 9 days. You get 2 weekends and the 5 days in between, and it's kind of a rat race. It's hit and miss. If you're on the birds, you're probably going to do pretty damn good. If you're not, you're going to tuck your tail for those 9 days. We did all right. We had a couple good shoots, and we had a couple hunts where we just laughed, but that's how that goes. And then third week of October is when the north zone for Indiana comes in. We had an excellent first couple weeks. Guy that is part of our group, Todd, he had a couple spots lined up for us that were just absolutely dynamite, and we're able to actually shoot full 6-man limits of ducks and had a big duck goose combo hunt to begin with. And so the early season started out great, and got into the middle of the season, that stale November time frame for us. Pick away at them here and there, and then get into late goose, and late goose is really when things come to end, but also get to be pretty good. Get to target them actually feeding in fields and not having to fight. Our geese up here, they're not going to feed every day. It's wild for me. You guys go out, you hunt every morning, correct? Sun, rain, doesn't matter.
Postal Service.
And Yeah, and up here, I mean, if you went out to set up to try to hunt geese on a sunny day, you'd be wasting your time. They're not going to
Really?
fly. If they do, they're going to fly to water. Yeah, they're like you're not going to go and sit in a cornfield on a sunny day up here unless it's 10 degrees out.
So just don't even try.
So what do they do on the days when it's sunny? They don't eat?
That's what he said.
Water to water.
That's it.
What about, like, what's the temperature on these sunny days? What?
It honestly doesn't matter. I mean, if it's during regular goose
So if
season,
it's 45
and,
degrees sunny, they're going to go water to water.
I would almost
Really?
guarantee it.
That's crazy.
Yep. I mean, and then if you might be able to get them in the field in the evening in the sun, but I mean, I would say most of us around here won't even risk it. We'll just hunt water if we can, and wait for at least clouds, but preferably rain or snow. I mean, if we get a little bit of rain or snow, if it starts raining before fly time, you'll set up in a field. We need weather, and if we got that weather, then it's usually lights out. Or on them.
That's the way it is with the field ducks. Field ducks, especially not when they're in Canada and they're coming out of the eggs and stuff. Once they get past North Dakota, those ducks have an Ivy League education, especially come mid-December. And if it's a sunny day and it could be 10 degrees, they're not going to feed until the evening time. But if you get clouds, they'll feed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They'll start feeding. But on a clear day, the ducks don't feed until right at dark, until after dark. A duck knows when it's fucking. They have a school somewhere that ducks are going to now that teaches them the calendar and the shooting time. There's no doubt in mind. If shooting time is 5:18, you won't see a duck till 5:16. And at 5:23, you're picking the decoys up and they're landing in the decoys with you.
Buzzing you.
It's like clockwork.
And it almost seems like the geese are like that too, but I think they kind of have like this freak out mode, and when they know it's time to eat, it's cold. It is, they're losing their body fat that they put on, and they kind of get stupid. And that's when it gets to be fun to hunt them, because you can shoot them in the same field a couple of times in the same
and
week.
You're shooting local honkers, right?
In the beginning of the season, yes, but later in the season, I would say a lot of them are migrating through. We got birds that come down from Michigan, up by Saginaw Bay area, and probably some that are coming over off of like Toledo, Lake Erie Marshes area.
Those city geese, they're I don't know what the age. I think a city goose life expectancy is longer than a wild marsh goose.
That never leaves the city.
Never leaves the city because they get smart about shit. They know about dogs and cats and predators of all sorts. They're around people all the time, but they see the same shit all the time, and they catch on to the difference between a freaking decoy and a. Those other geese go up somewhere, and they're not around any decoys at all, or nothing at all, other than what they're just their little family groups. Them city geese are around all kinds of. They're cityfied. They're urbanites.
15 to 25 years.
15 to 25 years is the average lifespan of a city goose.
As such, wild geese are said to have a lifespan of 10 to 20 years, with an average being around 15. Good average. Domestic geese, well, hold on, that might be like farm birds.
Yeah, that might be a little bit different. I would like to know that. I bet the life expectancy for a goose that's raised in a city park in Minneapolis. I don't know. Do Muslims eat geese? Because that would make the numbers a little bit worse. But if you take those geese as opposed to a goose that grows up in the tundra of Canada, the big geese, I bet the city geese live longer. They don't have to worry about near the predators, I don't think. And they see the same shit. I think they get decoy smart faster.
The city geese?
Yes, I do. I think they fly into the same parks every day, and yes.
You have no. You're just throwing shit at the wall at this point.
No, I'm serious. That's what I think.
Well, we had the opposite. We had the opposite of that this year. We actually hunted a group of city geese a couple times, and they were pretty stupid.
I would think
so,
they might be dumber because they're used to the interaction with people. So like they fly out and they're like, oh, we're good. They're not going to shoot us this time.
Well, I promise you, I'm going to get tons of people that are always wanting to pounce on me for saying something wrong, but I'm sticking with my guns that I think the ghetto geese live longer than the country geese. Just and there's.
And if they don't go out to eat, then they'll probably be all right if they don't go out to feed. But they go out to feed, get to that first field outside of city limits, and it's a field that you can get on. It's bad
I think
news
that
for
they're
them.
naive geese because they only see the good side of people. They see little granny and her 3-year-old granddaughter giving them breadcrumbs. And then they're like, oh, there's more of my people. They're feeding breadcrumbs out here.
Plus, a lot of them,
motherfucker, boss.
A lot of them don't even have to leave the field, the cities ever. That's also going to play a big factor. I think they're smarter, and I think they live longer. We're going to get a ton of stuff on this because we always do. My experience with big geese, 30 years ago, we used to kill a lot of big geese here. That's my experience with them. I don't.
But none of them are park geese.
No. And I went with Andy to Canada, and we hunted, and everything we shot was a big bird, and they were dumb as hell. But
it was September.
I understand that. I'm sticking to my guns on that. I'm going to get hell. You can start shooting the fuckers in August in North Dakota.
Man, they struggle up there to do that, though. It seems like we watch guys go up there every year and they get their ass kicked. I don't know what it is.
They go water to water.
Tougher up there.
They go water to water because it's 100 degrees still in August whenever they're doing it. But if you can catch a field, I know Stoner went with Kyle Jones and
Forrest.
I think Cade was on that hunt. They mopped the floor with them. So it just depends. Depends on the time. It just depends on what they're doing. You got to find them. I mean, you gotta time it right. You definitely gotta go put in your scouting miles and just pray that it's not too hot that they're gonna sit on water very long.
So you shot a lot of ducks this year. Were y'all field hunting or water hunting?
I think every duck we shot this year was over water, some variety, whether it was sheet water or a pond or something like that. I mean, mostly sheet water or flooded pastures. Flooded grassy pastures seem to do pretty well in sheet water. We got quite a bit of rain in October this year. We had plenty of water, so that helped us out a ton. We had options to go to, and the birds seemed to be here for this first couple weeks of duck season, so we were pretty fortunate in that aspect.
I had a ton of people send me messages this year and pictures when fucking middle of Christmas time when it was 88 degrees here and stuff, and they were like, man, we're wearing the green out up here in Indiana. That area that you live in, that Ohio, Indiana, Michigan area, had to be one of the best areas in the country this year for being pretty just solid hunting all year.
It must have been, and that's not typical. But the more you get with groups of guys, and if you're hunting with a group of guys and everyone's putting in their effort, it's not impossible here, but it's not easy. I mean, that's one thing. We go out to North Dakota, and you'd be spoiled if you're hunting out there. Granted, that takes effort out there, but a hell of a lot less effort to shoot limits than it does to shoot limits here, because we shoot, you can shoot a limit damn near every hunt in North Dakota. You come here and you get one every 2, 3, 4 hunts maybe, and you're smiling.
What do you think about North Dakota? I keep hearing a lot of chatter about they're going to try to reduce the number of out-of-state hunters. And I guess they're going to try to, it's coming in their deal. I think they're catching a lot of hell from their locals.
Well, and so when we were up there 3 years ago, it was horrible flooding. Then, of course, they went to a drought, but it was horrible flooding that year when we went up there. And, we're tearing the hell out of these guys' roads. And whether this is true or not, but a couple of different local farmers told us, they're the ones that maintain these roads. There's no county highway out there that's grading all these gravel roads. So then you have people like us out there, pulling a trailer or just driving around for no reason other than to scout, tearing up their roads. And I could see, that would get old. I would probably be sick of that shit too. And then also just the idiots rutting up fields and stuff. I mean, every farmer you talk to, they tell you that, and it's like, well, isn't that common sense? But apparently to some people it's not.
I got my biggest ass chewing in North Dakota ever, outside of my wife. And it was on a place that the guy had posted everything, but the field, we went on a corner of it and it wasn't posted. The stuff on the opposite side was. And so we're sitting out in the middle of his wheat stubble field with binoculars looking over the hill at some birds. And I turn around and go out, and here comes this guy. And you could tell when someone's pissed when they're driving at you. And I was like, uh-oh, this old boy's pissed off about something. I'm thinking someone else wanted to hunt in this field is what it was. He caught, I think, cocksucker and son of a bitch and a motherfucker come out 3-4 times before I even had a chance to say, how are you doing, sir? And he was on my ass. And I explained to him, I said, listen, there's not a sign right here. And I tried to explain to him. And finally worked it off where it was pretty good. Everything was fine. We drove out the field, and then I could see the signs on the other side of the road. So I kindly explained that to him. Boy, my ass chewing's number 2 come on. He'd forgiven me until I explained to him that there's no signs on this side of the road. It's just on the other side. then you dumb fat fuck, you should know better. That it should be on both sides and blah, blah, blah. Listen, I don't know.
Motherfuckers always looking for a loophole.
Yeah, that's what he said, too. You assholes down here trying to always find a way to get in, blah, blah. We deer hunt here, and if they just had a sign on that side, I wouldn't went in. And I was wrong. I was. But I wasn't wrong. I technically was right, but I felt bad. But that's the whole deal in North Dakota with just being able to go where you want to. And I think the landowners on the computer being able to post things is going to cut down on the hunters because you can't get into places. But I feel sorry for the locals that live there that own the restaurants and motels because they bank on those 2 months of all the out-of-state hunters coming in spending money. The guy that's a farmer that don't own nothing but farmland, he don't give two shits, and I don't blame him either.
He doesn't see any benefit.
Yeah, it's not like they can charge you to. I guess they could. Can they charge in North Dakota land lease fees?
So I think so. We ran, yes, because we ran across some signs. It's funny, and I know the outfitter, who posted them, and we got up by Devil's Lake 1 year scouting, and it had this guy's phone number listed on it for access to it. And I'm like thinking, you son of a bitch, you're just trying to get a free scout out of someone telling you there's birds in one of your fields. It's like, hey, you know what? It's a smart idea, but it's like, man, I just told my buddy, I said, I recognize that name. And sure enough, it was an outfitter up there. So I'm assuming that he has to pay to post those signs to say that it's leased.
Or he just posted as a bluff and does like what you did.
Yeah.
Just like you said, like now all of a sudden he's got 50 out-of-state hunters that are burning down the roads for him, and you know he's going to get a phone call. Hey, man, there's like 1,000 geese in your field. Ah, man.
Right.
I told some guys they could hunt it tomorrow.
I'm not going to lie and tell you, I haven't done that before in Oklahoma.
Really?
I've had guys call me and said, hey, I talked to so-and-so, and he told me I need to call you. You've got the hunt. And how many birds are up there?
What's all there?
What all is it?
Well, there's a good feed. There's 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 birds. Yeah, I think we're hunting that tomorrow. I don't know for sure. It's like somebody get the fuck up there and go look. So I don't understand why North Dakota, and they may have done this, I don't understand why some of them small towns haven't co-opted their farmers into a place in town and say, listen, if you co-op here, we'll charge $25 to $50 a morning to hunt. You got to have at least 4 or 5 guys to hunt on your land. And you call the local co-op and you say, hey, I've got 10 guys we want to hunt the next day. Do you have any place available? You know, and now these are the places you can go and look at, and that would be profitable for the farmer, and it would help the small towns up there in general. And I don't think most hunters, and I'm going to piss some people off that got there and hunt free. They're like, God dang, you're killing our free hunting. If you go out there for 5 days and hunt, and it costs you $250 for 5 days to access someone's land to hunt, I think you're getting a good deal.
But
yeah,
but
for
the
sure.
thing about hunting is it's not always about money. There should be places that you can freelance.
On public land, you can. But a farmer's private land is not public land. And that guy, I'm saying it would keep the farmer vested interest in having people come hunt on his land. If he makes a little bit of money, it'd be worth his time.
But I think they get paid to not post their land, don't they?
I don't know. I don't know the rules of North Dakota. We are pissing off everybody that goes to North Dakota and hunts right now. Or I am.
No, but they can enroll their ground for plots. What is that? Something land open to hunters, or you'd have to. But they do get paid a very small amount if they allow their land to be open and it's posted as open.
I'm trying to look and do this all at once. No hunting is allowed without permission from the landowner. I don't know. We need to get somebody from North Dakota now. Congratulations, Jeff. We just opened up a whole nother fucking can of worms.
What would you say now?
We got to get somebody from North Dakota now to fucking line all this shit out.
But that's, I'm just thinking of something that's going to help the waterfowl hunter that travels all the way out there to find, because there's a lot of guys that are going out there now that aren't getting access to places to hunt. They're getting scraps and they're struggling.
Well, and that, I don't feel bad for them. You got to drive. I mean, we got 2 vehicles. When we go out there, we got two vehicles on the road, and it does. I mean, there's days where it's getting dark and we don't have anything lined up for tomorrow. But you either have a plan A, B, C, or D, and you just got to. If you're gonna go out there, you got to put the damn work in, and it's not a vacation.
I agree with you 100%. I've been right where you're talking about at 5:45 with 5 minutes left, and the phone rings, and we've magically been saved. Luckily, where we are here, we always have some places we can fall back on, but we're not up there freelancing. Right. But there's a lot of freelance guys that drive all day long, and they're just getting little places here and there to hunt. Things just don't work out. There's not a lot of birds. There's 27 other groups of guys hunting right there. It would be nice if they had a co-op, and you could go to that co-op in the morning, and they could say, listen, Here's the land plots around here. Everything with the yellow marker on it is part of the co-op here. It's $50 a gun to hunt or whatever it is. You got to have 300 a day, let's say, and you can have your whole group hunt there. And you go there and you know that you can get on those places if you call that co-op.
Well, what's
or
the
something.
difference in that and just going to a field that's not posted with no birds in it?
That you can
just because you're going to a place, I mean, you just look at the X and you're like, okay, I'll just set my decoy spread up there.
No. When you go to scout, you know you can get on these places and hope there's birds there. You're still going to have to work a little bit.
Well, and I mean, but like, what's to stop somebody from just spending $300? What's to stop somebody from spending $1,000 a day on 3 different fields just to make sure that they can hunt it?
The farmer's making money. He's going to be more apt to try to let people on. I'm just seeing down the future, the farmers in North Dakota, they're going to be the same as the farmers in Canada. A lot of those guys are sick and tired of the ruts, the no-till planting guys especially, the ruts and all the problems they deal with, where they won't have these problems. If they're making a little bit of money, they're not so problem. A farmer is going to be wanting to say, hey, I'm going to hold this until the co-op guys come in. So your birds are going to be sitting there because he wants to get paid a little bit. And I don't blame him. Do you blame him?
I just don't.
No, I can understand. I understand that. So down there, you guys lease everything you hunt, right? I mean, that's all lease.
Well, we hunt everything is season lease that I hunt on. Everything.
I'm nervous enough. I could not go into a place and not have a season lease on it.
Yeah,
hold on. We day hunt some here on some places, but we know we can be in there.
Yes,
everything here is completely. This is a completely different area than other places are.
If we were if our bread and butter was, hey, go to this place, and pray to God you don't see headlamps, it would not be good for me.
If we have headlamps come in our field in the middle of the morning, we're like, what the hell's going on here? Because we know it's ours. I mean, it's long-term leases. But
now, are there competition down there for you guys as far as like local non-guides, like just no local hunters?
We don't have anybody else in Knox City basically that waterfowls more than, I think Eddie Blackburn maybe goes twice a year. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nobody in town even here that waterfowl hunts.
And so it's it's just like polar opposite up here. Really, nothing is leased. No one. I don't want to speak out of turn here, but for the most part, there's no ground that gets leased up here. It's just relationships with landowners and for the most part, it's going to be a single party on it. But there are landowners that'll give anyone permission, and that can get messy. So, just curious how that works down there.
Are you paying to hunt up there, or is it just free?
No, nowhere right now. I do not pay anyone to hunt to gain access to land. Lots of snack sticks, lots of trips in the off season.
Those are good relationships to build. The economy, the way it is, it's really hard, and especially the price of diesel fuel right now for farmers. It's awful hard for them to turn down money on places to hunt nowadays.
It might be coming to that soon, but as of now, as for me and the group of guys that I hunt with, I don't believe we don't pay.
There's an outfitter in Kansas just recently started paying farmers, and I'm not going to mention any names because there's 300 outfitters in Kansas right now. Anyways, he told me, he said, it's crazy. I pay a couple $100 a day to hunt, and I got all this land now, because everybody else was just hunting free on this stuff. He said, now I got a lot of other people pissed off at me because I've been paying. Fucking smart man right there. He locked down some stuff and didn't have a lot invested in it, but he's got first rights now to get on everything. And they feel loyal to him because he was the first guy to pay them.
But what's going to suck is somebody's going to come and offer more money.
Yes.
And then that bidding war is going to start, and listen, when you're not working together with the guys in your area, that bidding war can get expensive.
You're costing yourself. The guy in Kansas is going to be dealing with other people paying more money now. They're going to get into a bidding war. But for a long time, those farmers didn't get paid nothing, and then they got a guy come in there. But if you do a long-term business, you've got to pay to play just about. I don't know how the outfitters the only ones I understand that get by with it are guys like Jeff Coates and them that hunt offshore in the ocean. So
it's all
there's fucking
vastness.
10,000 miles of water to hunt there.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, the way they hunt up there, it's basically pass shooting anyway. You just kind of find the line that they're flying from coastline to feeding or whatever, and then you just basically string out that way.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about, and I don't think there's a lot of people doing it, but there's plenty of ocean out there to hunt.
Right.
But anybody that hunts on public land that you can get by, that's got land around it, whether you're hunting in Arkansas in the rivers or you're hunting the Mississippi River, you're always got a chance, if you got that good scout, that you're going to show up at 4 o'clock in the morning and some jackass has spent the night there. I mean, that's part of that game, and that's one of the things you got to worry about.
I think
that's why it's nice to to be on private land and to not have to worry about that. When I really first started getting into waterfowl hunting more seriously, it was all public water, and it's nice to get hooked up with a group of guys, and we all got a few good private spots, and then before you know it, you got 5 or 6 guys that you hunt with consistently, and everyone has 3 or 4 spots to take to go throughout the year. Your season's covered, and it's really, you don't have to have 30 properties tied up. You just need 3 or 4 good ones, and everyone works together.
What'd you say your dates were for your season?
So it's September 10th through 18th, I think, this year for our early goose, and then 2 weekends.
Right.
With 5 the 5 days in between, and then we get October 23rd, I believe, is regular duck and goose opener, and that'll run through middle of December. However, Goose goes out for a few weeks in there, and then it picks back up middle of December, and then we have a split come in for to finish ducks out into December, into the beginning of January, and then Goose will run till the middle of February. And that whole time during Goose season, all year for the last year and this year, we'll be able to shoot 5 big honkers, where it was 3 for previous years during normal season.
What do you think contributed the most to the good hunting last year? Was it a mild winter everywhere else and the birds just kind of stopped where you were? They didn't go all the way down south? Or what do you think it was?
We had water. One, that helped a lot. We had plenty of water for the ducks and geese both. But honestly, part of me wonders if there's just more birds coming through now. Our limit went from 3 during regular season to 5 on the geese. It does appear that there is more around in the last few years. And then come late in the winter, they'll hold up anywhere that they can. They'll sit in rivers, sit in warm water discharges in the cities, and that's when you can really target them in those fields around town and around these rivers and roost, and it gets to be a little bit more consistent.
Where do you
hunting.
get most of your birds from?
Band-wise is probably Michigan.
Well, is that what what about are they all from Michigan, or do they come from Ontario? Do they come from?
Yes. Yeah. So we get some Ontario bands, Michigan bands, and then some local bands as far as that goes. But honestly, we really don't shoot a ton of bands. Last year I think we only picked up 2. So it was we don't shoot a ton of bands here. I think guys a little bit further to the west of us seem to pick up a few more. I'm not real sure why that is, but there's a couple groups of guys west of here that do pretty well on them.
But what I'm getting at is how far do your birds travel to get to you? Would you venture to say that the majority of your birds are coming just out of Michigan and they're only flying a couple hundred miles, or do you think that they're further up into Canada?
I would say so. I would say most of everything's coming out of Michigan down to us. I'm sure that quite a few out of Canada, but I would say mostly out of Michigan.
Have you seen a year where you guys got too cold and too much snow and then everything just trucked on out of there?
So 2 seasons ago, we had 1 pocket of geese left that we were killing, and everyone else was pretty much done 1st of February, end of January. Pretty much everyone else, if they weren't hunting this 1 pocket of geese that was holding on tight, everyone else had pretty much called it a season. And yeah, that was the case. We'll freeze out, usually put ice on lakes right on the first of the year, and then that's when these geese will have to go to the rivers and openings on the lake.
They filter out of the lakes and then hit the fields?
Yep. So once, kind of goes back to that, they're not going to feed in the morning, but they're going to feed probably in the afternoon if it's cloudy. And then another thing that we have to deal with in the wintertime is lake effect snow. I don't know, you guys familiar with how lake effect snow works? You hear about it up in New York and stuff, but we get it down here too. Snow bands coming off of Lake Michigan, and they can pop up at any given time. And that can make or ruin a hunt for you real quick, because if you're trying to get there after work, trying to get an evening hunt in or something, and you're counting on them to sit tight until the last hour, and you get a lake effect snow shower come through, the group text goes off and everyone's saying, oh, it's snowing up here. We're screwed. And usually we're screwed. By the time you get to the field, one thick snow band will be enough to get those birds flying. And
how much
warning
warning do you have that lake effect snow is headed your way?
So the weatherman's going to tell you that there's a chance of lake effect snow showers, and then it's until you see it pop up on the radar. It doesn't actually come and move directly off of Lake Michigan. They'll pop up down here by me out of nowhere, and you just know you're running the risk of that if you're trying to get to the field or if you're waiting them out. That we've had many mornings where we go out anticipating lake effect and we don't get it, and we sit there and do nothing. And, then there's mornings
that's
it works
cold
out,
air that hits warm, moist air, isn't that? Isn't that what causes the lake effect snow?
I'm not the meteorologist. You might probably know more about that than me, but I just know that they'll call for a chance of it.
I think it's cold. I think it's colder air off the
lake
pushes that moisture and it hits that warmer air.
Lake effect snow is produced during cooler atmospheric conditions when a cold air mass moves across long expanses of warmer lake water.
Yeah, moist.
The lower layer of air heated up by the lake water picks up water vapor from the lake, rises up through the colder air above. The vapor then freezes and is deposited on the leeward downwind jet.
It's complete opposite of what I said then. It's warmer lake air
goes up into the
cold air goes across the warmer lake air.
It pulls water,
makes snow, and then drops it when it gets at the colder side again.
So it's kind of like hail. Pushes it up.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
That's what hail is, Jeff. In a sense.
Why is some hail? What makes hail bigger?
How many times it goes up and then thaws and then gets pushed up and then is refrozen?
I don't think it thaws. I think it just circles around and gets bigger and bigger and bigger
until
it gets too heavy. It falls out.
You're exactly right. It's all about the updraft, Jeff. Right. All about that. That's what it's all about. It pushes. It's what pushes the water up. I'm telling you, I'm gonna learn you a fucking thing or two if you'll just calm down.
I'm just laughing.
Moisture gets pushed up, the water droplet.
Mm-hmm.
It freezes.
Mm-hmm.
It falls.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not heavy enough to just fall, it gets pushed back up. Mm-hmm. And then that little where the water
it grows and grows and
it grows and grows and grows and grows.
Until it's
and
too
then
heavy, it falls out.
When it gets to whatever size, softball, baseball, pea, whatever it can sustain to get past the updraft, it falls and damages your car.
You're right.
I know. Fuck, I know I'm right, Jeff. I went to college.
So that makes you right all the time because you went to college?
I studied that.
Joe Biden went to law school. Do you consider that motherfucker smart?
I studied that in a science class.
Have you listened to Kamala Harris lately? She butchers up more sentences than I do. And the bitch has a law degree.
Yeah.
And scabbed up knees.
I went to school, and that was a topic of discussion one day.
Kamala Harris's knees.
Hey Jeff, what do you think about the new press secretary?
Another person, because they had alphabets in front of their name, got a fucking job. I'm telling you right now.
And she's got alphabets after because she's LGBTQIA, and she's black, and she's a girl.
I just don't get it. What? There are so many intelligent black people, black women in the world, and we got Kamala Harris and this dumb bitch up there going ahead, and Stacey Abrams, and I just, man. And then Candace Owens catches shit. She's smarter than all three of them put together. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. She's a fucking idiot, just like the rest of them. I'm telling you, you know who's an idiot? Is the fucking American public. We are. We're dumbasses to put up with this shit. We just keep letting these people jab this up our ass all day long, and we don't do nothing about it. And the thing is, if you do something about it, you're going to get in trouble. But we have sat here and taken this shit for 50, 60, 70 years, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse. Oh, fuck. It's horrible.
Well, yeah. You still look at all the people wearing masks in the airport, and you don't want to stereotype anyone, but you can tell, looking at someone, why they're the kind of person wearing a mask.
I feel bad about that because there's some people out there wearing a mask that really have a serious issue to do it. But 9 out of 10 of them people doing it are just dumbass sheep is what they are. And I always don't want to say that, but every time I see someone with a mask, that's what I'm thinking. Do you really have a real problem or are you just a dumbass?
Hey, what was it like flying on the airplane with no mask?
It was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful not being muzzled. let's see, we went to Orlando in February, and I think we were muzzled for that one. But yeah, this one it was nice, and I would say probably 95% of the people did not wear masks.
Well, they're going to change that law again.
You think so?
Yeah, probably Saturday night at midnight because we're flying Sunday, so it'll fucking happen Saturday night at midnight. So I told Michelle last night, I said, listen, pack them fucking masks. Let me go find mine just in case. My mask was so clean and beautiful. It was a black cloth mask Michelle bought me because it wasn't hard on the ears. That fucker, I put it around the dash of my pickup. It was dust. It was brown, so she'd have to wash it before we'd go anywhere if I'd had to wear it. But in Texas, luckily, the only time I've had to wear a mask is flying. We haven't worn a mask in 2 years anywhere. Matter of fact, 2 years ago about right now, we got rid of our mask. And we haven't worn them other than flying. And when I was on the East Coast, a couple of places, you had to wear them. And in Mexico, I had to wear them to go from the concierge. You can lay out with your titties hanging out all over a resort in Puerto Vallarta. But if you walk from 12 feet from a place, from the door to sit down, you can put your mask on. Then you can take your mask off. Dumbest. That's right there shows you how fucking ignorant we are as a society.
Well, then, like, I was drunk most of the time in Mexico, so you just, when you're hungry midday, you just want to go to a restaurant and get a cheap burger or a hot dog or pizza or something. You're stumbling drunk. You've been in the pool all fucking day. I don't have my mask in my pocket. It's at the gazebo or it's in the hotel room. Now all of a sudden I got to trek my drunk ass back to go find my mask, get back. Is fucking stupid.
Especially if you're on Team Ivermectin, like I am. Oh. I shouldn't have to wear this shit anyways.
I had a buddy get stuck, or a coworker get stuck in Mexico. Around the first of the year, he popped positive going to leave.
How was his 10? They make him stay 10 days?
So it sounded like there was some underhanded stuff. He only had to stay 5, and supposedly the line was coming back more diluted. I guess they were probably using a rapid test to have the line. And he said that by the 5th day, it was less noticeable than the prior day, and it was like, all right, you're good to go. But 5 days, they move them over into a different area, put them into a quarantine area. No alcohol for them. And he said the food was of less quality too. So, and he had to pay $150 a day. That wasn't,
the resorts. I've been
included.
to Mexico 4 times since COVID at 4 resorts, and 2. I've been to the same one twice. So I've been to 3 different resorts, but in the 2 years of having to go through that shit, we never had to worry about being COVID. I took ivermectin before we left anyways. I really wasn't ever worried about it. But I didn't think those people wanted you to stay, because they're losing money. But I bought every one of our trips. I bought the insurance with it that if we did test positive, they have to pay for you. It don't cost you a dime. Yep, they have to. They have to take to. And I think it depends which kind of resort you stay at. But I always wondered about that, who got stuck. Because then I asked too. I said, well, what happens if my wife tests positive? Well, usually if it happens, both of you have to stay. I thought, well, if I couldn't leave your mom down there. I'd feel bad about that shit. But if she's positive, I don't know if I want to be in that fucking horrible negative room. I want to stay in the good food room where you can at least drink and have fun.
Because that's the thing is everybody's like, fuck it, keep me another 10 days. I'll stay here and drink and eat all I want for free. It's like, no, you don't understand. They put fucking tape on the outside of your door. They lock you in there.
Yep.
They're, I didn't know about the no. I never thought about the no drinking thing, but no alcohol. And that's it. Like you're just in a room with shitty cable television. And
can you imagine the food that they're going to give you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Shitty cable television and probably not in English.
In Cancun, one of the place we normally stay at, they have 7 channels and 2 of them are in English, and one of them's like PBS or some shit you don't want to watch. Mm-hmm. And then it would have been horrible. I like to read, but fuck, I usually read my book on the plane, so I don't have nothing to read by the time I get in the room. Can you bring me 3 books or 4 books, please?
It would have been awful.
That would have been a horrible, horrible experience. So Denver, you said there's a bunch of weirdos in Denver. Is it zombie land there? Because I've had a lot of people tell me, since all the pot shit is everywhere in the gummies, that the downtown Denver looks like a zombie land with just people walking around just fucking stoned out of their mind.
So my only time in Denver was at the airport because we did boogie out of there, but there's a lot more eccentric characters in Denver than what you see, let's say, in Indianapolis airport. And then, once you get up to, out west into some of those mountain towns, I'm sure some people are stoned out of their mind, but they might just be pros at it. You don't really notice it out there, I guess.
Fuck, you can't go to a small town in Oklahoma without them having a fucking dispensary now.
Well, yeah, it's legal.
Oh, is
That's
that
what I'm
legal
saying.
there?
It's everywhere. But it's medical marijuana. So if you got an ingrown toenail, Dr. Hoshbajaji will write you a fucking deal for some pot. But the little town that we hunt at up there, I think they've got 3 dispensaries now in a town of 1,200 people.
Everybody needs their fix, Jeff. It's all right.
Yeah, it's legal in Michigan, so it's an hour north of here. Anyone in Indiana can go and get whatever they need, but
Now,
Indiana,
when you drive across that
non-medical.
state line, I bet they arrest people left and right, don't they?
Well, there's a lot of back road, throughways there, so I'm sure if someone really wanted to come across, they wouldn't have too big of an issue. But
If you're in the panhandle of Texas and you get pulled over by a trooper or a county or a city cop, if you go there and you're coming from Colorado, you need to tell them you come from New Mexico or Arizona, because if you tell them you come from Colorado, they're going to be thinking,
I think I had heard that DUIs have decreased in Colorado since
everybody's too high to drive.
the passing of this new bill.
I don't think so. I think it's increased.
Oh, well, I'm looking, Jeff. I don't like talking out of my ass, like saying that park geese live longer and are smarter than
They do. I said city geese.
I like to
ghetto geese
find
live longer than country geese.
I like to find.
See, it's opposite in humans. Ghetto kids don't live as long as the country boys do.
Mm-hmm.
It's more dangerous.
What's driving the rise in DUI cases? That was in 2021. So
Yeah, it is
maybe I
increased.
was wrong.
I learned that in judge school.
I didn't realize you guys in Knox City, that's not really all too far from Colorado, is it? I mean, get to the border.
Well, fucking
8
longer than you
hours?
think it is. Texas is a big state.
8
Just 'cause
hours?
I drove 8 hours the other day and I was still in Texas. I can drive from my house to South Padre Island, which takes about 8.5 hours. I can go to St. Louis in the same time.
Yeah.
According to Colorado State Patrol data, arrests increased 90% for drivers impaired by cannabis and alcohol, and 17% for drivers impaired by cannabis and other substances between 2019 and 2020.
I think the biggest problem in Colorado is not the people that are doing gummies and stuff. I don't give a shit what you do. I think they ought to legalize the stuff. I think especially it helps a lot of people that's got a lot of health issues. I think it'd be great for them. And that's coming from someone that's never smoked pot in his life. But I think the problem you see in Denver and stuff is the people that are going there that spend every dime they have to get stoned out of their mind. They get stuck there walking around the park working every way to get done. That's the problem. And I knew a guy. We had a local guy that did that shit.
Right when Colorado went legal, he took a fucking
pot vacation.
Took a bus, didn't he? Or
He
flew out.
drove. Come home on a bus, went out in a car.
Yeah. Spent every dime he had.
To get
And
fucked
then
up.
he had to call somebody and was like, hey, put him on a fucking Greyhound, and he got back home.
I have a.
God rest his soul.
I went to
Dead
high
now.
school with a buddy of mine, and he told me that he went out there and he said, Jeff, and he wasn't a big partier, and I know. He said, I smoked some pot when I was younger, but he said I hadn't done any of that shit. And he said, I was out there, and he said, I bought me some gummies, and he goes, I can eat a handful of gummies back home. And just regular gummy bears. He goes, you don't have 3 or 4 of them pot gummies at the same time. He said, 30 minutes after I did that shit, I was pleading with Jesus, please let me live just let me live. Please, please, please.
Get me off of this ride.
Yeah.
There's something here called Delta 8 that you can take, and it is not it's like, I don't know what it is. It's legal in Texas. They sell it in town. I have not experienced it, but from what I've heard, it will fuck your world up. A guy that I know that took it, he got a call from somebody, a little old lady that he'd helped out before, and she had locked her keys in her car. Well, he's got a little Slim Jim set. So anyway, he gets out there, and
You're giving a lot of information out.
what that? I've got a Slim Jim set. She should have called me. She'll call me next time. So anyway, he's like, I'm just looking at my stuff, my kit, and I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, I get her car open, and then same type deal. Like, I put my stuff away, and she comes up behind me, and she's like, are you okay? He said, I had no idea if I had been standing there for 5 minutes or 5 hours. Like, I was just obliterated. So Delta 8 is supposed to be pretty
I don't
pretty
think
close
it
to
will
the
be
same.
legal very long.
I mean, if it does that to you, I can't believe that it's legal now.
It's probably went through the deals. It's like that potpourri shit they were smoking.
Yeah, spice.
K2 and all that
spice,
shit. That stuff's bad.
Yeah,
It's fucked up a lot.
made it for a few years, and
A lot of people.
I know a guy who's in bad shape from it. Honestly, I mean, he's not all there anymore, and that K2 stuff did him in.
I'm trying to figure
When
out.
they make something that's processed out from under your sink and the things you get to clean your fucking tile and shit,
Delta 8
don't be taking that shit.
Delta 8 is derived from hemp instead of marijuana, so that's how it's legal.
That's the deal right there.
Mm-hmm. Delta 8 THC is considered legal at the federal level because it's derived from hemp instead of marijuana. That goes back to why marijuana is illegal in the first place. Paper company.
Hemp. Yeah. No, that's the reason hemp was illegal.
Right, but then they outlawed hemp, and then I guess marijuana and cannabis, it's all like under the same umbrella. So
I wonder when
everything got the kibosh.
I wonder when smoking marijuana became a common or normal thing. I mean, you don't. I know that the Indians had peyote, and I'm sure they had some marijuana, but I wonder when it became a common thing that you could buy in towns and stuff at places. Like, was it during World War II or before that, or?
So didn't they market it as a prescription for certain things back in the way backs, like when they marketed Coke as a drug as well?
I saw the funniest meme the other day. It said, "You know why your fucking grandfather could walk to school uphill both ways in the snow? It's because his goddamn Coca-Cola had cocaine in it. So shut the fuck up. That's why you could do it."
Do you think Coke really had cocaine in it?
It did.
Did it really?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
How much you think?
I'll look it up, Jeff.
That I don't know, but
Absolutely. How much?
That shit had to been a whole lot cheaper back then than it is now. If they put cocaine in that shit now, a bottle of Coke costs $27. I have not bought a soft drink in 2 years. Not at all. Has the prices of them went up like everything else has? And do people buy sodas hardly anymore? Because when you go to the grocery store, there's more water on the shelves than there is Coke.
I think a 20-ounce bottle is like $2 at the gas station.
No shit. I used to be able to buy a can of Coke at the Boys Club for $0.25.
Elon Musk is the one that tweeted that out. That's where I saw that. It said absolutely it did, but the claim, 1894.
I thought it had coca leaves is what it had in it. That's where cocaine derived from. So it wasn't cocaine. It was probably the coca leaves because the Amazon Indians used to chew on them the same way because it was a hallucinogenic for them. And I'm going to bet you that's what it was. I bet it wasn't processed cocaine. I bet it was the coca leaves, which they make cocaine from, was used to make Coca-Cola.
I'm looking. Coca-Cola says absolutely not, but of course they're going to come out.
It's like
and
McDonald's
say that.
telling you that
The
chicken nuggets aren't kangaroo meat.
McRib is actually
A rib?
pork meat somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that it's coca leaves. I think they use coca leaves in the process of making it at first, and that's what they make cocaine out of, if I'm right. And so I don't think it was actually cocaine. It was just the same. But it was a hallucinogenic that was in there of some sort.
I'm trying to find your marijuana thing, and we got too much
I am
shit.
curious to when marijuana became we're in a town. It was common to have someone that smoked pot, or you knew someone that smoked pot.
Early 1900s. It says immigrants from Mexico to the United States during the tumultuous years of the Mexican Revolution introduced the recreational practice of smoking marijuana to American culture. So the 1900s.
So roofing, concrete, and marijuana. We can thank to Mexico then. Good deal.
God bless them.
That's right.
Yeah, it was during the Mexican Revolution.
So that's when I've always wondered about that because I grew up in the 70s and it was common then, and I knew it was in the 60s probably, but I wondered how far back it went.
If you want to get really into the weeds, you would look at how Christianity and magic mushrooms coincide with one another.
Well, magic mushrooms aren't that common.
Huh?
Magic mushrooms are not that common.
They were in the early days of Christianity and the shamanic culture. Right.
Today.
Correct.
So I don't
But
think nothing of mushrooms.
There's a study done, and there's now
Zane had no idea he was getting into all this shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Zane.
I'm on the drug podcast now.
Yeah,
sorry.
we're on the rabbit hole now.
Brought to you by the DEA.
There are these botanists that can study. What do they call those people? Archaeologists, botanists.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about botany.
So anyway, they go to these old religious sites and they can take samples of
archaeologists
of what's in the altar, what's on the altar, and what's in if they find cups and stuff, and it's all
Mushrooms.
hallucinogenic stuff.
Oh, well, that's how Charles Manson kept in people. Gave him a little bit of acid every day. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, what did you buy your wife for your birthday? We're gonna put you on the spot here. Did you go all big on this deal?
They just got back from Colorado, Jeff.
Vacations don't equal birthdays.
Yes, it does.
It kind of does around here at least for this one. We getting back on the same day as her birthday. It made it a little. I thought about trying to get something sent to the house, but I was a little concerned about a package getting delivered, and it's raining today. And
you don't have to convince us. So are you taking her out to dinner tonight?
We'll do whatever she wants to do.
What's an upscale dinner for Zane? Where are you going to?
Oh boy, there really isn't much. Going to Fort Wayne and maybe grab something to eat.
How long have y'all been married?
We'll have our 10-year anniversary.
Oh, that's
this
the
August.
lingerie birthday. You're supposed to give her lingerie on her 10th birthday. There you go.
Right,
so that's winning for you then.
Yeah, but 10 years, and like I said, our kid's 4, so.
Congratulations. 10 years, a big
those are great years. Andy's been married 10 years, and he's got a 4-year-old.
A 7 and a 3-year-old.
Well, he's fixing to be 4. He's going to be 4 when we.
But he's 3.
But you got to convince him he's 4 because we're fixing to go on a tubing trip in Puerto Rico, and you have to be 4, and they're going to lie about it. That little fucker's going to tell the truth. He's going to argue with the guy. No, I'm 3.
We'll be all right. We'll be okay.
Well, Zane, man, we appreciate you being on here. I appreciate you being a long-time listener and being active on all of our social stuff. I do appreciate it. You have a wonderful day.
Do y'all have a dove season coming up here pretty quick, like in September?
So September 1, we will have, I think we're the most northern state. I don't think Michigan has a dove season. So we'll have a dove season starting September 1. But we really don't get into it too much because we got one weekend and then it's early goose season. So it usually gets one weekend of attention and then it's on to geese.
That's I envy you, my man. So that sounds like fun. It's not as far away as people think it is. I mean, really, it's not.
No.
We do appreciate you coming on here. Have a great summer and go treat your old lady to something special.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Bye.
God bless you, bud. Before I forget,
yes, sir.
Go to stanfieldhunting.com. And we have a shop up now, and we're working out all the details. I'm trying to
Shopify.
A Shopify deal, and we got a website. We're still working out some details on that, but please go to stanfieldhunting.com. You can buy all of your product, all of your merchandise there, and I'm still working out some of the card deals, but by this one come out, surely to God, it's be fixed by them. And something else I want to address. We had the most controversial podcast we've ever had, I think, last week over the turkey reaping.
Yes.
Did you see the picture the guy shared on the Facebook page?
Which one?
The one in Africa. They've got a donkey that they got these horns out of it, so it looks like a ginsbuck maybe, and they use it as a decoy to get the other ginsbuck to run up towards the donkey, and then they shoot it. So they're ginsbuck reaping now in Africa.
Here's the deal. Everybody's line for what is fair chase is a little bit different.
Everybody's lying.
Yes, they're lying.
Okay, I thought you said they're lying. That's why I said I wanted to clarify that.
What everybody considers fair
standard.
chase, yeah, that's a much better word. Their standard for what is fair chase is a little bit different. I think that if you built a cow blind and you inch towards a goose roost,
used to see that done a lot,
and you flip the top of it off and you just ground rake however many geese, your legal limit, I don't consider that fair chase.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But it's hunting.
Is it?
It's a type of hunting. Do you consider an Indian when he put a coyote skin on and crawl up towards a buffalo and shoot a buffalo? Was that hunting?
Yeah, but this is a lot different.
Why?
The buffalo
standard's the same.
The buffalo analogy?
Okay, well, it's different. I mean, it's the same deal.
Yeah, but they were doing that to feed their family. These guys are going out here just to dick around.
There's nobody hunting today. I'm not saying that. 99.9% of the people hunting today.
Call it 95, because we don't know. 95% of people that are hunting.
I'm
aren't
gonna
using
stick at 99.
Okay.
Or not feed, or not plant. They're not relying on what they kill to feed their family all year long. Now, that one purist is
Right.
gonna say, "That's bullshit."
That's all I eat.
You're eating canned pork and beans to go with them, so
Right.
you're not that much of a purist.
Mm-hmm.
But majority of people are hunting as a hobby.
Right.
They like to eat what they do, and it does do. If you're hunting, and that's what you're a guy told me that earlier this year. Said, "Well, yeah, but you save money by hunting. You ain't ever saved a fucking dime if you're buying a goose spread. You might as well eat filet mignons every night and not hunt."
Yeah.
But in Africa, those people are buying it. They're using that to feed their village with.
Right. And
But
when the Indians were using the whatever they would use, the fucking stakes were high. Like,
it was to survive.
if you're needing that turkey to feed your family, fucking play by whatever rules you want to. Trap the motherfucker. I don't give a shit.
Shoot the hens.
Shoot the hen. Yeah, I mean, but it is a sport.
I'm not disagreeing on anything. And I did not know his name was the Godfather.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty funny.
The
Good play on words.
Godfather. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with anything that was talked about or said on that deal at all. I don't turkey hunt.
A lot of people did.
But it does. It has been one of the most controversial things, and I was kind of surprised by it. But I like that because it means there's a lot of people. Everybody's got their own opinion, and I agree on both sides. I see what people are talking about. The people that do it say it's not as easy as it looks, and I bet it's not.
I don't think it should be legal on public land. I think you are asking for more and more people to get hurt.
I would say that's probably a very true
I don't
and
think
good
that you should
statement.
be able to use a fucking any sort of male decoy on public land because
Do you think it's fair that they use mojo ducks on public land?
some lands don't let
Or
you.
lucky ducks, spinners.
Spinners. Some places don't let you.
Arkansas don't do it, I don't think. I'm thinking
I don't think
in Arkansas,
anywhere.
private or public, you can use them.
Right. I think everywhere in Arkansas, battery operated is a no-go.
It's an interesting deal. But it's been a very interesting topic, and it shed a whole lot more time. I have realized there are a lot of people like me out there who do not turkey hunt, but I've realized there are a shitload of people that do turkey hunt that love it, and they're passionate about it.
You're one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, on this deal, I don't really have an opinion because I see both sides of the deal, but if what you're doing, it's like shooting a big buck. If it's legal to shoot a big buck at nighttime, no, that's a stupid analogy. I don't even have an analogy.
Most of the analogies are dumb, Jeff.
Well, thank you.
But I mean, think about it. If you were to take a cow and you inch it forward to the goose roost or goose feed or whatever, and you pop over that fucking cow and you shoot your bird, is that fair chase?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Is it morally right? No.
Really? That's
It's
fair chase.
Well, yeah. Why isn't it? You snuck up on some birds. You were smart enough to make a cow. Now,
Really?
let me
I
ask-
am shocked to hear that.
Let me ask you this. I wouldn't do it. My lazy ass ain't carrying a fucking cow that far to shoot a fucking goose.
So you consider that fair chase?
I don't consider it really a hunt. It's hunting, but I don't consider it. It's fair.
Okay, so now
It
all
is
of a sudden,
fair.
we've got a turkey fan in front of us. We walk it up to the bird and we shoot the bird.
To hide behind a turkey fan and walk up to a bird, to me, would be a whole lot harder than
Hold
being
on,
in a turkey
hold
to
on,
being in a cow.
hold on, hold the fuck on, because I'm going to show you a video.
I think it's harder to do the turkey deal than it is the cow blind. Yes, I do. Now, hold on just a minute, though. Back to the goose deal.
Okay.
If they shoot it and they kill 300 snow geese in conservation season, do you have a problem with it?
No, because the line's different there, Jeff.
It's the same thing, though.
No, it's not. It's
Why is
not,
it- why
it's
is it
not the
different?
same at all because they're a nuisance.
So it's okay to shoot snow geese out of a cow and walk up to them, but not Canada geese. I wouldn't do
Absolutely.
either one of them. I don't like pass shooting. I don't think pass shooting is fair chase. Do you?
Yes.
So you think it's okay to sit somewhere on a hedgerow and shoot geese flying over you
Yeah,
and, injuring more than you're shooting, because
You-
that's what happens all the time.
You've at least done your homework to know what the flight line's going to be.
And I think pass shooting is more detrimental to birds and guys than a damn cow walking up and shooting at a roost. I don't prefer either one of them. Let me just say that out there. But if that's what you do and that's your goat and you're doing it by it's kind of like turkey reaping. If you're going by the law, then you're not doing nothing wrong. It's kind of like the sink boxes.
Yeah.
If that's legal to do, then do it.
It's like copper-plated sixes said. If that's the case, then just go on and fuck your cousin, because in 20 states out of 50, you can do that. It's legal. Perfectly legal. You can fuck your cousin. You can marry your cousin.
I didn't have no hot cousins.
It's perfectly legal if you want to do that. Should you fuck your cousin?
I don't have a cousin.
It's 20 states you can do it in.
90% of my cousins are all boys. So
20 states you can do it in. Fuck it. You can fuck your cousin if you want to. I'm trying to find the video.
So that's the analogy now we're doing is cousin.
It's
fucking.
legal? Why not? She's hot. Drop a load in her. Go ahead.
I think that we're getting way off the deal here.
No, fuck, it's legal, Jeff. You can bang who you want.
If that's what you want to do, you can. You're not going to get arrested for it.
Exactly, it's legal. Go fuck your cousin. Have a bunch of little narrow-eyed little fucks.
In the hell does that have to do with turkey hunting?
It's legal.
Well, if they're doing what is legal, they're not doing nothing against the law.
It's legal, Jeff.
Okay.
Just go bang her. It's no big deal.
What is your point with this, though?
Should you bang your cousin?
No, I'm not talking about cousin. I'm talking about this turkey deal.
What?
What they're doing, if the state of wherever they're at says it's okay, then they're not breaking the law. If they make it illegal, then it's illegal.
Uh-huh.
You used to not be able to noodle catfish in Texas.
Right.
But I think you can now. So now if you want to do it, it's legal. Do you think that's wrong?
Noodling catfish?
Yeah, do you think it's wrong?
I don't care what you do with catfish.
That's what a lot of people do with a turkey deal. So. All I'm saying is this is, to me, is harder than it is because you're out in the open. And
how's that hard? The guy's in a Bigfoot costume.
I have never. He's in a Bigfoot costume.
Yes, wearing a Bigfoot costume.
But if he's behind the tree in a decoy, you've never had a problem with someone shooting a turkey over a decoy before.
I don't.
Okay, it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
What's the difference?
He got out in the middle of the field. He started fanning these turkeys. He got inside their bubble. They're breeder birds. They're with their hens, and he pulled them over. If he would have stayed in the edge row on the other side of the field, he never would have shot these birds because they were with their hens. They would have walked off and lived to fight another day. But now he's on his knees behind a fan, and that's how he got the birds.
Okay. This guy right here, let's say he puts two decoys in front of him, and he shoots out of a A-frame blind that's solid where you can't see it really, just in corn stubble. Or he's in a layout blind. Let's say a goose hunting layout blind. He lays there and puts that turkey. Are you have a problem with that?
He didn't do that.
If he would have done that, would you have had a problem with that?
I don't give a shit if you're in a blind.
But he shoots the same fucking turkeys.
No, he didn't, Jeff.
No.
If he would have been stationary in a blind in the corner of that field and the birds came out over here, he would have been fucked. There was nothing he could have done. What he did is he saw where the birds were. He saw that he was not going to get them in. He took these strutting decoys and he walked and he got inside their circle enough to piss them off to run to him. That's what he did. If he was in a blind, he would not have been able to do that. He would have just had to go, well, fuck. They got me today. And for the record, like, I didn't have that big of a problem with the turkey reaping until I saw how visceral everybody was. So now that pushed me to, like, I'm anti-reaping now. Full-fledged.
See, I'm on the...
You're on the side of, well, it's legal, let them do it.
I'm on the side of, I'm not a turkey hunter. Mm-hmm. I just don't see the difference. I understand where your debate here is. I don't understand what the issue is with if that guy would have done the same thing and he'd have been laying in a layout blind
he
and
would
walked.
not have.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
And he would have walked out there with a turkey decoy and stuck it down in front of him, gotten his layout blind, and those turkeys would have come to him. Is he calling while he's doing that also?
I don't know. There wasn't any sound.
So see that's my point to the whole deal. I don't. If you want to say, hey, we need to do away with all turkey decoys, that's fine. I got that.
But
something
it's
is
look at this guy. It's I mean, he's not wearing any camouflage. He's just crouched down.
He's hiding behind his beard.
I'm going to venture out to say that he ain't even fucking real Amish. Jeff, he's using tape recorder.
Andy, it says Amish versus turkey by an Amish man. So you're calling him a liar now.
They can use battery operated, I guess, huh? What part about this?
If I was sitting in a car watching this shit, I'd be laughing my ass off till he shoots a turkey. I'd be like, damn, I'm impressed. There's Yoder's fixing to pop it. Oh, look at that old H&R 12 gauge. Pow.
See, and this is in the early days. He could have gotten a whole lot closer. It's 2013. Like,
oh, he's definitely sure an Amish.
First came out. Yeah, he's definitely Amish. I'm trying to find the Civil War. The guys in the Civil War.
If turkey numbers are this far down,
Okay.
and they are falling like they are, then they need to do something. And if to do is to diss turkey, I don't
think
how many
turkey-
people are turkey reaping out there? Do you think is it that common now? You think?
I think it's still pretty fringe, but I was of the thing of like, you know what, it's legal, like let them do it. But now after all the hate, so you think this is fair chase?
Oh, I think it's fair chase. Yeah,
Really?
the guy's out in the open in a fucking blue shirt and a beard and a damn old H&R. I can't think of the damn shotgun where you got to cock it back. I can't think of it. Single shot shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Hammer. Had to pull the hammer back. Yeah, it's pretty damn fair chase. He's not wearing $1,500 worth of Sitka and hiding behind a $1,000 decoy. So yeah, that's fair chase.
But like, look at this. Like,
Is it cheating on the? Is it cheating the line? Probably yes. But is it?
I don't consider this. I don't consider it to be. It's not my cup of tea, is what I should say. It's not how I would like to spend my spring.
You say this would be like hunting over
It would be like hunting
an open hole of water.
No,
When there's no. Let me finish. There's no open hole of water within 50 miles, and you got the only open hole of water you've kept opened up by machine, and all the ducks are pouring into it. It's legal, but it's making it a lot easier. Shooting fish in a barrel.
Well, I mean, it's just
what you're saying?
I think of it as like guys that just couldn't take their lumps turkey hunting, and they're like, well, fuck it, we'll just reap them. We'll just walk out there and reap them.
See, I think the guy who first come up with this is a fucking genius.
I do too, but
Okay, but now it's cheater.
Now it's just become to the point where I don't know. I don't feel like it's good for the sport. I feel like a lot of people are getting hurt by doing this, shooting one another. I mean, fuck.
I'm just thinking about some Yoder shooting another Yoder.
Let me see if
Elmer,
I can find
like
it.
Elmer Fudd.
He might not. It might have gone away by now.
God, it's hotter than hell in here already, and it was cool this morning in here.
Yeah, it is. I texted the guy. He'll be here at 3:30, but I was hoping to do him a little bit earlier. That way it wouldn't be so hot. Let me see.
It is hot.
Might not be there. I don't think it is.
All right, we can get off of here. Anyways, did you know that the what was it they come out with? It was the old Harry Potter, the new Ministry of Truth.
Yeah.
It's dissolved now,
Right.
resigned, and they ended that shit.
Hold on, I know where it was. Here. I think they post so much shit. Oh fuck.
It's no big deal. I believe you. It's an interesting concept for sure. I didn't really. I've seen people do this. I didn't really know it had a name. I didn't know it was that big a deal until lately. But I understand why people are upset with it. But then again, I think to do it, you have to be I don't know.
You think it takes woodsmanship? You think it takes stealthiness and craft and knowing the bird and knowing when to?
I think it's
knowing when to move and.
Yes, I think it's harder than sitting in behind a cow blind. I knew some old guys that used to hunt in Wichita, old friends of mine. They're long gone now. They were older, a lot older than me, and they had a cow, a plywood cow, or plywood cow, and it was painted like a cow on one side, and they had a place to put their guns on it, and they would walk this piece of plywood, a sheet of plywood, out into the goose and keep it at a quarter angle, and they'd walk up on a flock of geese.
Right.
And they were successful probably 8 out of 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
And they would kill 2 or 3 geese every time they did it. They weren't shooting 200 or 300 by any means or anything like that. And they would probably only get about 30 yards away. But they would kill a couple of geese doing it. I think it's easier to do that than it would be the turkey deal.
I mean, like I said, there's so many instances where
Let me ask
the bird should be able to win every once in a while.
Do you think that? Let me ask you this. Do you
And
think
I understand that it's not 100%, but
if you took a piece of plywood painted like a cow and you tried to walk up on them turkeys,
it would probably work. They wouldn't charge because what it's doing is like what he was saying.
no, it entices them to come because they're protecting their own.
Right, they're protecting their
So
hens.
do you think it's easier to do the turkey Would you be easier to shoot a turkey behind the turkey reaper, or would it be easier to shoot it behind the plywood cow?
The cow, but you wouldn't go viral on Instagram, which is what a lot of people want to do.
I think it would be. You think it'd be easier behind the cow?
Yeah, because it's bigger. But like I said,
I don't think
they
so.
would just be They would just be feeding.
I don't think it'd be easier.
Why?
Because there's nothing to entice them to come to you. They could walk in the woods and shit. The
They
turkey
could.
reaper, they come to you at least.
Right.
So
It's easier turkey reaping than behind the cow.
It would be easier to shoot turkeys. Well, I don't know. I'd have to see someone do it in person. I just think the videos. It's like this. It's like the pile videos you see of people shooting birds. All they're doing is showing the good shit. They're not showing the flocks that don't work and the things.
You
that
have
don't
to
work out.
find the right bird. You have to find the king dingling of the woods, because if you get a subordinate bird, a 2-year-old tom, or a jake, a lot of times they will run away because they're thinking, "Fuck, here he comes." Like, shouldn't have done it. But if you can find, so here's a scenario. This hunting season, we were hunting a place, and the birds henned up, and they walked away, and they got out into a field, and there were 2 toms with like 7 hens. You're fucked. Morning's over. You're done for a couple hours.
But if you were turkey reaping, you could have got them to come to you.
100%.
Yeah, because they don't want a third tom on the 7
Right.
hens.
They see a tom coming from across the field, and once they cross that bubble, whatever their proximity is, they're thinking, it's on like Donkey Kong. So, those birds got to go breed those hens that day. Those hens got to lay an egg. If I would have reaped them, those birds are now out of circulation, and those hens don't get bred till the pecking order gets reestablished. So,
well, there's no doubt that there's I'm not a turkey hunter,
So
I'm giving unfair. Anything I say is unfair because I don't turkey hunt. I think that if the numbers are down, I think Corey Nickham or somebody that hunted in Wisconsin said their numbers are way up. But most places are complaining about the turkey numbers are down everywhere. Just
Right.
about, And there's that one guy out there that's hunting on Mama's spot, and he went out and killed his 2 toms. It was real simple. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the guys that hunt public and all that stuff that do a lot of hunting. The turkey numbers are down nationwide, I guess. If this would change the numbers and help them come back up, then I think that would be a good
I don't know that it will, though.
Change it?
Man, I really don't.
Something.
I don't know.
I don't think killing the king dingling is killing off all the turkeys. I think the problem is I think y'all are onto. I think raccoons are the problem.
Fur trade is down. That was another thing. It got shared in our group. They found the avian flu is in the turkey population now.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm wondering, could it have been here earlier? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let me find it. Group. I haven't read the article. I just saw it. Here it is. Our friend from Utah shared it. Bird flu discovered in wild turkeys for the first time ever. Wildlife. God damn it. Wildlife managers across the country are wondering what's next after a deadly strain of bird flu was discovered in the wild turkey flock for the first time. Highly pathogenic avian flu, H5N1, has been sweeping the first continent since the first hit Canadian shores back in December 21. Western turkeys. Last month, an avian influenza turned up in dead Merriams in Montana and then Wyoming a short time later. So maybe that could be something. I don't know, but something's definitely going on. Now, here's something else I want to say. If you're hunting on private land, I don't really give 2 shits how you kill a bird. If you're managing, if it's your property, you're managing the birds.
Well, you're opening up a whole new can of worms now.
Why?
Because that turkey don't just stay on your property.
Well, I don't give a shit.
So if someone owns 5 acres and they border up to someone that owns 5,000 acres,
I don't give a fuck. Hunt them how you want. If you
on
want
your property.
If you want to get in the fucking P row and hunt the whatever, your fucking lake that runs right through the middle of the King Ranch or whatever, and that's your property and you can be there, I don't give a fuck how you do it.
So your problem is just on public land.
I have a very bad, yes, public land. I
So are you
don't,
worried about the population of the birds?
I'm worried about the
what?
safety of the hunters more than anything.
That's what you're worried about. You're not worried about the turkey numbers. You're worried about the safety of hunters.
No, because I don't think that turkey reaping is going to, I don't think banning turkey reaping is going to do enough to, it's not a magic bullet. It's going to take a concerted effort of trapping more.
Well, if the bird flu's there, then it doesn't matter if you trap them or not. That's what the problem's going to be.
Yeah, but that says 21.
Well, there's
for the life of, I keep going back to Oklahoma.
yeah. What happened?
Where
to
have
the
they
birds?
gone to? It's an established flock of birds.
A big
and
flock.
Nobody has seen them.
They died. They're gone.
They're just have
I think
aliens started eating fucking turkeys now?
You know the freeze that killed all them dove. You don't think that wiped out some turkeys?
Could have, for sure.
But the places up north, they have cold winters all the time.
Right. I mean, unless I don't know, something major has happened in the United States because this is a nationwide issue.
Well, maybe we need to get somebody from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service on this turkey guy.
Everybody that I have talked to has said, talked to Shanahan just the other day. He said everybody that he's talked to, and I talked to Shanahan, something major has happened and the birds are gone.
Yep.
And it was 1 year to the next.
We need to have somebody on from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife
do that.
Service. We need to try to find somebody that's a biologist, as much as I hate talking to biologists usually.
But something major has happened, and nobody can put their finger on it. I don't know if it is something that farmers are spraying now that wasn't vetted. I don't know if we've had the bird flu here a lot longer than what we've found.
They said
Something big has
the
happened.
eye worm is what did it in Oklahoma, is what I was told. But I can't really find a lot on it. But I know
Somebody
that
said with the
Oklahoma,
eye worm, like they develop knots and shit on their head.
but they die.
Yeah, but I think there's a period of time where you can see like, oh fuck, that bird's got eye worms.
You think something's gonna make a turkey look uglier in their head?
Well, like if you see these fucking
Right.
knots and shit popping out of their head, I don't know.
But there's obviously something wrong.
But
Just like out here, we see turkeys all the time. I ain't seen turkey all year long.
Right.
And you used to see them along. Hell, I've seen them in Tony's front yard before in the spring.
Mm-hmm. But my main concern is the safety on public land. If it's private land, I don't give a fuck. Do what you want to do. It's a free country, but at the same time, I don't think that it is turkey hunt. Definitely not turkey hunting in the traditional sense, and it's not turkey hunting how I like to do it because I like for that bird to come to me.
I saw.
And now the guy's gonna be, Willie is coming to you, but I like to sit down, be stationary, and that's how I do it.
I saw a video yesterday that the guy had a backpack on with a big set of elk horns on the back of it walking through. And this is during elk season. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's how people get fucking shot. Some other dumb fuck that don't realize it's a backpack in a man.
Right.
You know, you've heard that old story about that lady shoots that elk and she walks up and that guy's trying to steal her elk. He's like, ma'am, I ain't trying to steal your elk. I just want to get my saddle off of it.
What about deer hunting? What if you did that deer hunt, hid behind a deer and...
I'd say you're a damn good fucking hunter.
Think so?
If you can walk up on a deer. Now,
behind a deer decoy?
if you put a deer cape on and you walked out there, yeah, I'd be worried about some dumb fuck shooting me though.
Mm-hmm.
But you imagine some big old buck wanting to spar off with somebody and some bitch get out there fast.
I don't know.
You want to be a man, you put on the cape of a grizzly bear and you walk up to some grizzly bears and shoot you one.
But I am interested to think, yeah, no shit. Or put some doe and heat on the back of your canvas. Get that old boy all fired up.
I knew an old boy got his ass whooped by a deer one time.
Did he put doe and heat on him?
He had doe and heat on him, and the fucking deer, it was at first light, and he was walking in, and he was behind a mesquite tree, and this buck tried to fucking mount his ass. The fight was on. And I know an old boy that shot a buck down in South Texas one time, and he had to take a shit, and he was taking a shit by where he shot the deer before he gutted the deer. And he got done taking a shit, and turned around, the deer started standing up. It was getting better. And so he reached his arm around it, put it in a headlock, and that fucking deer went to taking off, and his sheath with his hunting knife was on his right side, and he couldn't. So he finally got it choked down enough, and then when he slit its throat, he said it was round 3. And a buddy of mine was there, and he said it looked like they had a fucking rodeo there. He said there wasn't, dirt was tore up everywhere, and a 30-yard circle around there. The guy said deer whooped his ass. All right, let's get off of here. Y'all have a great week. Talk to you later. Mañana. Hasta luego. Bye.
Check out all of our great sponsors. Go check out Shin Gear Waders, Bangtail Whiskey, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Dive Bomb Industries, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Boss Shot Shells, Pacific Calls, Dirty Duck Coffee, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast, Gundog Outdoors, maybe Stanfield Hunting Outfitters.